It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning.
Welcome to Divas That Care on this Sunday morning. Happy Sunday, by the way.
Yes, happy Sunday.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm so glad to have you on this show. I'm so honored to be one of the hosts. I've always loved Divas That Care Network that is focusing on women globally. So that is wonderful. Well, I've been practicing the word entrepreneur, because the title of our conversation is a young entrepreneur. I speak at 37 languages, and in Rutoro, my mother tongue, it is very, very odd to have three consonants following each other. So that's why I've been practicing. I think I got it right. Okay. Well, so our listeners out there, you can tell I'm excited. I'm watching today's Kabagarama, host of Divas That Care. And today I have my Deborah, my daughter, one of my daughters, called Deborah Namara Amori Gladney. And you can ask her for the meanings of all those names. But for now, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy Sunday to you and to everyone listening. I guess just a little bit about me. So obviously being a daughter is one of the titles that I carry. One of 5. I'm the 4th out of 5 kids. And then even more so, I'm a mom and a wife. I have 3 young boys. So even though I am definitely outnumbered when it comes to the male to female ratio in my household, I think that I have the privilege and honor really of, raising 3 men to really understand the value of women and, especially entrepreneurial women and women who have great influence in our world. So, that's a little bit about me.
That is wonderful. That is excellent. And, of course, you don't live far away from me, so when they come here, they find Grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's fascinating that you are an entrepreneur and you started this work during this major pandemic. You have received so many recognitions, the Wichita Eagle, where the recognitions, and recently you were recognized by the governor. So can you tell us more about QuickHire and what led you to that? Yeah,
happy to. So my Angela, who is the baby of the family, so my youngest sister, she had this idea quite some time ago, just because of her work in higher ed and career development and working with different students and things like that. She recognized that there was a gap in helping people find work in the most efficient way, and also not just finding the right jobs, but also finding like a good career pathway for progression in their fields. And so it's something that she realized a while ago. However, when COVID happened, we felt like that was really the perfect time to launch because of a number of reasons, not only because of connecting, the need to connect people to jobs, as so many people were out of work and had to pivot and all this stuff. But it honestly took a global pandemic for people to realize how essential, skilled, and service industry jobs were. They actually equated to about 60% of the essential jobs during the pandemic. So they really are the backbone of our economy, and we just felt like it was the perfect time to help people.
Yes, I had her on this show, and at that time it was more of a dream, She was talking about how the two of you are dreaming about it, and she was in LA pursuing her music career and also working at the university. And now she's here, and everything is moving. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And what is your, deep within you, I can even tell from your impressive bio that you love to help others.
Yeah.
So what motivates you? What do you gain from helping others?
Yeah, I think we all have those things in our lives that kind of just give us peace, give us joy. For some people it might be, reading. Others, they might just like playing video games. For other people, I think everyone has their own outlet, writing, those type of things. For me, it has always been helping other people. And it as ambiguous as that is, it looks different in every scenario. But I've always just been that person where I just don't enjoy life alone. I don't enjoy success alone. I don't enjoy being at the top by myself. So for me, I'm very much about the, how can we all win? How can we all thrive? And again, I think life is just better connected. And so that is really, I think, the root of why I enjoy helping people. And also, I think because of being children of immigrants and knowing how hard you all worked so that we could have a better life, I think it's also another way of me paying that forward.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, indeed. Speaking of being a child of immigrants, so that experience, that unique experience, what were the challenges and what do you think you benefited from that? Because it's now that sometimes we say, oh my goodness, we did it. I mean, alone, of course, we had friends and, came to this country and, had an extended family of our own that we created. But as far as blood relatives are concerned, it was just us and the children, and yet you survived and doing well. So take up from that, and of course, you survived your language differences. Although we came, speaking English, but there were also differences. For example, we called the trunk a boot, and the elevator, the lift would say, come on, enter the lift, the door is closing. And you entered, you read in there. And we didn't know what to call the thing where you put, up to now, I don't know what it is called, but where you put that clothes, we would say, put in the better thing, and you survived all that, and different foods. Although, of course, we prepared, American food, when, spaghetti and so on, and turkey at Christmas, Christmas, Thanksgiving. But there were also unique foods like mandazi and chapati, sambusa. How did you survive all that?
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's really funny. And just so that you know, Mom, the dirty thing is called a hamper. It's a hamper.
Okay. All right, thank you for the lesson.
I think so. To your point, though, I think that was a bit of a a hurdle, as far as the cultural and language differences, because I felt like we kind of had to have like those public blunders, if you will, where we didn't know until we said something in front of our friends or in public, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" So our learnings were much more public than I think the average person, as far as trying, figuring out, the norms of the, U.S. culture, which, were there times where it was embarrassing when and I was like, oh, we had to get the things out the boot, and my friends thought I was absolutely crazy for talking that way. It wasn't by any means a struggle, I think that the biggest thing that I would say was like the biggest barrier, and it's not just for immigrants, but I think it's for different people, even for minorities, but just that generational access to opportunity. I think a lot of families, a lot of people have been established in the United States for many, many years. And so there's this generational access, whether it's real estate or capital or opportunity or whatever it be, where they have started, they've had a jump start in a lot of different ways where we are still trying to catch up. So I think that is probably one of the most challenging parts of being first generation born in this country. However, I do think that it leads me to the point of, what were some of the great things about being a child of immigrants was you can't teach work ethic. I just feel like that is something that just has to be ingrained in you.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that you will see a lot of immigrants come to this country and become very successful, a lot quicker than their counterparts because of that ingrained work ethic. And I think that work ethic is something that was instilled in us as kids. And I think it's what has helped us surpass a lot of our peers because, working hard is what we do. So,
yes. Oh, that's wonderful. And of course, there is also the social capital,
Yeah, exactly.
that we bring with us, for example, music. I've always told you that at 6 months, you had some music and your toes and your fingers could tell that you felt that music, and that became a #1 song that year. And I said, I'll tell the world one of these days, and now I am. But, so the music, and I see that even in your own children. When they come to us, they listen to the music here and the music we bring and the food we bring, and guess what? This generation, they just love our food. They love so many things about us, and then the American way. So, there is that social capital that is hard to quantify. Even the proverbs and the language, the way we speak, so all that has contributed to your success. That is wonderful. We truly appreciate that. Yes, indeed. And of course, you went to Africa. You and your husband went to Uganda to visit, your roots. And so how did that experience contribute to your growth? Because many people really, when they think of Africa, they think of, that continent, what good can come out of Africa? And I usually say, look up to Africa. If you want solutions, some of the problems of this world. In fact, in my peace work, I'm teaching the peace model that I learned in the village while growing up, walking barefoot to school, but I was learning so many lessons. How did that contribute to your growth? How did that help you?
Yeah, I think if anything for me, it was kind of like it brought everything full circle for me, and helped me kind of connect things that were always kind of inside of me, whether I knew it or I didn't. I think it made my life make sense in a way because when I went, when we decided, first of all, to go to Uganda, we were wanting to take, our 5-year anniversary trip, and we were like, we want to go abroad. We want to get out of the country. And so we had all of these places that we were interested in seeing, from Dubai to London and, all, somewhere in Asia. Like, we had all these places that were on our list. And, I turned to Careem. I was like, it just doesn't feel right in my spirit to go to any of these places without having gone to Uganda, where we're from. Before I can go appreciate all of these other cultures, I feel like I have to go appreciate mine first. So that is how we first came to it. And then going, I just was floored, from seeing people who look like me, or I look like. That was the first thing that struck me for the first time, to see, like, my face, my facial features. I was like, that's what, like, that connection was like, oh my gosh, like, this is where I'm from, like, I can't even, you can't really describe it. That, and then, just to see where you and Dad grew up and everything, I felt so connected there. And again, it just made sense for me, because I always felt like there was this disconnect for me growing up here. Like, it's not that, I was an outsider by any means. No, like, I made great friends. I met my husband. I established a family here. So for sure I'm connected here, but there was always something missing, like I felt like I always wanted to be able to give back, but I was like, I don't even know what community to give back to, because I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't feel like my community. But when I went to Uganda, I was like, that's why, because this is my community, So again, it just made me feel like all of the things that I went, in my life, or all the internal feelings that I've had, it made sense when I went to Uganda.
That is wonderful, and probably made you even a better American. Just
right,
as I
exactly.
tell people, here I feel I'm an ambassador, I'm at home. And then speaking of spirituality, even, seeing, God is here, God is everywhere. And I come to serve. I won't just sit around. These are my relatives, just like those in Uganda. It is so fascinating. I go to the classroom, I see these children, I say, these are children of the world, really. My students are lovely. We are developing leaders. So, that is so interesting. And, of course, I see that same spirit in your church work. Can you say more about that, what you do in church?
Yeah, so I am a part of a wonderful church community called NewSpring Church in Wichita, Kansas, and I've been a part of this church for the last several years in a volunteer capacity, and in more recent years I became a part of the staff, and where I serve as one of the worship leaders there, and it has just been a joy. So as I said before, I've been a part of this church as a volunteer for several years before I ever received a paycheck, because I just genuinely enjoy leading people in worship. It's just something that is such a gift for me. And I think no matter what I do in life, if I continue in tech or if I pivot or whatever it is, worship will always be a part of me and will always be a part of what I do, regardless of where I am.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And when you discover your gift, your uniqueness, it is such a joy. Then you can go back and just enjoy that. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you one other question. Since this show is about women, and as we know, women have, suffered some injustice, and still things are not equal, as we know, in every culture, actually. Even here, where there is abundance, still women have lagged and are still lagging behind due to discrimination and, whatever else. So wherever you go, and of course there are differences, but still we know that women and men are not equal yet. So how do you motivate young women, young, yes, to achieve their goals, to live their best. Any tips you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that we lead by doing, and I think, especially it's super timely that you asked this question and that this show exists, because even with Kamala Harris being in the White House, regardless of the political party, it has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat or whatever, but it's more so the fact for somebody for the country to see a woman in that level of power. I think you can't help but feel motivated and inspired when you see something like that. When you see when you see people in positions or people doing things that were against the norm, it makes you alter. It makes you do kind of an internal assessment where it's like, am I thinking big enough? And so even though I really haven't ever thought of or really aspired to do anything from a political standpoint, it has challenged me to think bigger, though, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we can continue to inspire the next generation, is by leading and by pushing boundaries and by, changing the face. And even with us founding QuickHire, two Black women in tech is not something you see. And so we feel like by leading by example and showing that, hey, we belong here too, hopefully we'll start to motivate those behind us who can see that, we can do more. We have to just do it.
Yeah, that's right. And many have paid the price. There is a road there that is unsaid, By the time you get to that level, emotionally, psychologically, even physically, but when you have a goal and you say, yes, I can do it, then you do it. And others learn from you and you change lives. And somewhere where you mentioned something on your bio, the importance of managing time. I'm sure many people ask you with 3 boys and this and that, and you do other things. I know you are a consultant, and communication and other. But how do you manage, in the 24 hours? You said something very interesting, time management. How do we spend our time?
Yeah, I think that it's so important.
Yes.
I had somebody tell me one time, you can sleep when you die. Not to sound so morbid, but really I think that everyone has the same amount of hours in a day. It's what you do with it that will change, your outcome. Yeah,
that's right. 24 hours. So what you do matters, and in sociology we say usually women have that private time out there, have had very little, if any, access to public time,
Right.
So what do you do in there, that can change the world? People will ask you, they ask me, how do you get things right, and children, and this and that and that. 24 hours you've got to use them, very adequately. Otherwise, you lose out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, have time, schedule that. Yeah, that is so interesting. Yes, we could go on and on, because in the home, of course, we don't talk about these things all the time. You come, you pick up the boys, and they're having fun and all, but just sitting with my own child and, I'm saying, oh my God, did I do that? Oh my God. So you make me very proud, all of you. So what are your future goals?
Future goals, you said?
Yes, anything that you would like to do that we haven't heard about yet, because I know you're always creating.
I think, my mind never stops, but I think I am trying to do a better job of living in the present, because I am always living for tomorrow. But I will say that one business that I am interested in doing in the future obviously, we'd love to be able to sell QuickHire and all of that and create more opportunity in a lot of different ways. But, if I had the capital and the time to do it in the future, I would love to start creating like a line of products that can help parents' lives be just a little bit easier. I think that as a mom that has, 3 boys, all 6 and under, it can be challenging, at times. And I think that there are certain things that could make a parent's life just a little bit easier. By no means is it making parenting completely easy, because parenting is a challenge, but, small things around the house or small things that you do, it's like, well, if I could take care of this for a parent, they can focus on, actually raising their kids, So anyways, I think that's definitely something that I am definitely interested in, later down the road.
Yes, it might come sooner than you think. Yes, and you have the experience, obviously. And, as I always tease and joke around, say, you know what, don't underestimate me. I'm a multitasker, This I learned from the very beginning, from the village, That's how you succeed, and many, people would want to have those tips. How do you take care of your 3 boys, and yet do all these things, and you are still okay? You have time to yourself. Simple things that sound, we take for granted, and yet many people are looking for such help. So that's wonderful, and good luck to you, and best wishes. If ever you need help, I'll share with you a couple of, tips here and there. For example, yesterday I made some chapatis, because whenever the boys come here, chapati, and yet managed to look after them. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When the pandemic came, I remember telling all of you, bring your babies here. Because I knew I could put a desk here and say, you're in the classroom there. I'm teaching you right now, okay? Now I'm no longer a university professor. I'm going to teach you little ones, okay? And then I'll carry you on my back here, and we'll move around. And
right. Exactly.
It works, you are one the same person, but everyone is happy.
Exactly.
So cute, so cute. Okay, well, do you have any question that, or any addition, any comment that you'd like to make?
Not really. I think that this is, again, this is a really great platform, a really great show, and I think that there are a lot of people out there who are doing, great work, a lot of unspoken heroes, a lot of people that are doing everyday work that tends to go unnoticed. So the more that we can try to elevate those voices, I think it's just a great thing. So, no, I just appreciate the time to chat today, and thanks for having me.
Oh, that is wonderful. You know what, if I may share this with you, I'm so grateful to Candice, the person who founded this, and then Joyce, who lives here in Manridge here, of course, where Manridge is, but we got connected through the story, the book that I published about grandmother, who lost her entire family in battle, and now I'm saying, oh my God, what an amazing woman. But Joyce had been trying for a long time to reach me and talk about the divas that care. Now, let me share with you my ignorance. For me, I thought the divas were singers. And I said, I'm not a singer. Maybe I can introduce, my daughters. I mean, I sing at home and all, but my daughters can sing. What do I contribute to divas who are singing? You know what I mean? And then she kept on, but
that's funny.
But yes, indeed. But I really love this group of ladies. So inspiring. And so wonderful. We're like family now. And I'm at home. I said, yeah, finally someone knows who I am, and I can inspire others through this network. Yes, indeed. Yes, and, women of all ages and cultures, and, we all have a voice, and we all matter. Yes. So thank you. You have a lovely day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.